we're going to take a look at another live demo from Peter. But before we get there, let's just talk a little bit about what we're thinking, what's on our radar for our version 26 release, which is coming later this year. And this is in development now. So these are not absolute commitments. A lot of it is already working. So we're pretty sure that these things will be included. But really, these are priorities for what we're going to work on. And Peter's actually going to show you work that's in development now. So really sneak preview for this audience. All right. Let's see if we can go on to a little bit more. There we go. So we're really thinking about 3 areas of focus for this upcoming release. The first one is upgrades and security. This is all of that essential work that keeps MapInfo Pro running on modern infrastructure and keeps your IT teams happy. We're doing a bunch of updates, including GDAL, both for vector and raster. We're upgrading our Python libraries and also our international components for Unicode, so our ICU libraries, those will get an update as well. We're also planning a Visual Studio update. So all of these things really just to help make sure that we are on the latest and greatest, and you're not going to have security concerns coming from your IT or infrastructure team. We're also going to be making some changes to our in-app help system. So we're really trying to tie into our online precisely help center going forward, so you can take advantage of all of those capabilities right from within MapInfo. So stay tuned on that. We're pretty excited there. Usability. We're really trying to focus on responding to your feedback. So we've heard things from customers. We have our ideas portal on our Precisely website where we get all kinds of ideas and requests from customers, and we're really responding to a lot of those in this release. So the things that I have on here that are in italics, I think Peter is going to show us actually some things that are work in progress on those items. But really definitely the SVG vector symbol support we're looking at. I mean, this is something folks have asked about for a while. You know, if you use vector, you get the ability to scale really well, right? Those symbols look great at any scale. We're adding a bunch of custom fill options with things like rotating of those fill patterns, scaling of those fill patterns. Anyone who does custom fills, I think you're going to be really excited with what we're doing there. Peter will show you some of the redesigned style dialogues. And I think the drag and drop file open, that is fun. That's one of my favorites. And we're also trying to make it much easier and make better decisions sort of and suggestions on your behalf when you want to do thematics on your data. So we can make some pretty good suggestions for you, and we're actually trying to lead with that. So we definitely want to get more feedback on that. We're not taking away what you currently have, but we're adding a new workflow that's going to make some good suggestions about, hey, this would look good, based on what the data looks like to us. We're also just adding a bunch of shortcuts, context menu updates, so that you can access some of those features that you use all the time faster. Of course, you can always ask AI for that too. But for folks who have certain workflows they want to be able to do manually, then we're here to support you with those as well. The last item that we're focused on, of course, we've been talking about the AI assistant, and Peter showed you some of that. We're going to continue developing the AI assistant. We're really happy with where we are now, but AI moves quickly, and we're also going to be working on performance enhancements and efficiency enhancements so that we minimize token usage and we make things, as fast as efficient as possible for you when you're using the AI assistant. We're also going to be integrating with our new hosted MCP server, which will allow you to have access to all kinds of precisely capabilities beyond location intelligence into things like data integration and data cataloging and data quality operations. So stay tuned for that. We're also going to give you more access to precisely data sets and our APIs, including our geocoding and routing APIs. We will be extending our 3D area of the product to add-ons API support there, so you can automate some of those 3D functions. And Peter's actually going to show you point clustering as well. All right, I think with that sort of high-level intro, I will hand it over to Peter again, and he'll give you a live demo.
Thank you again, Jen. So let's share my screen again here. So let me start by saying that this is a very early build of MapInfo Pro version 26, right? Things will change before the release, and you'll probably also see something that might not be as they will be in the end, right? But let's go. So the first thing mentioned by Jen was also the way to get data into MapInfo, right? So we extended the way you can drag and drop files. So I have some various formats here, some tab files, a shape file, and a JSON file. So different formats, but I can now use the same process of actually getting that into MapInfo just by dragging and dropping the file in and saying, oh, I wanted to add it to my current mapper. If I don't have it, it will create a new map for me, right? Boom, got my data into MapInfo Pro very easily. I didn't need to any interfaces here. I just dragged it into Pro and then it opened it into a map window. So this is really making it simple to get that data into Pro. So the first thing I want to show you is some about the styling of polygons. So Jen was talking about the fills, right? So we've been working around a number of improvements here. Let's just work with the layers here, right? So I'm taking on the layers thumbnail here. And you can see this is one example of one of the new style picker dialogues, right? So at first, you'll see up at the top, you'll have some recent styles available. So these are the styles that you've been using over the last few sessions of Pro. And you see a long list of actually styles up there. So you can easily pick one of those. Say, this is a style I want to use. And then you can say preview it. You can see it on the map actually, right? So you do that. You don't need to change anything. You just click that one style you already used already, right? Yeah. One other thing we made a change is the way we let you pick the fills, right, or the patterns. First of all, you can see that you can see more than just a single fill here. So we'll actually allow you to click here to actually change the styles or the pattern that way. You don't need to open it, drop down, pick it, and then have that closed again. You just pick it as you see it here. The same with the line style here. It's very easy to now change the look and feel of your styling, right? And also the color drop down has now changed from being kind of like a dialogue in a dialogue where you need to close it on the small cross up in the corner here. Now it's actually part of the dialogue, so you can click anywhere to close it again. One other thing I want to mention here with the color picker is if you go to the more colors down here, and onto the custom, you can see you have a color or a color dropper here. So you can then use that one, drag it somewhere else on the screen and grab that color from the area that you are on top of. So that's an easy way to pick a color that you already used on your map, maybe, right? Without knowing the color code that it's consisting from, right? Yeah. And the recent styles, yeah. So you can see that I can make them change and actually apply these styles very easily using the preview. That's not new. I think that's something we have as well currently. Another thing I want to show you here is that we are not just supporting the pattern that we have so far. We actually implemented 2 additional ways to do fills. So the first one is the gradient colors, where you apply a color and make it go from one color to another color, actually, either in a direction. So you can see here that it goes from a darker color to a lighter color, or you can use the radial gradient where it goes from the center and outwards, right? So you have the color being thinned out in this way when it goes from dark to light. But we also implemented this the idea of SVG fills, right? So scalable vector fills, which gives you some new capabilities when you're talking about fills in Pro. So let me try to go down here, and this is one of the small issues of this dialog so far. It doesn't really show the fills, but if I click on it here, you can see the fill over here, right? So I can now preview that one, so you can see how it looks here. But what you can do now is that this is scalable, so you can change the scale of it and preview it again, and you can even change the rotation here, right? So you can rotate it, say, by 90 degrees. So you rotate the symbology within your polygons in that way. So that's certainly a new way of applying styling without having to have the styling in a massive amount, because you want to have it rotating using the direction, for instance, right? Let's try to have a look at the symbols as well. So if you look at the symbol dialog, it has kind of been through the same kind of work, where you can see you have the recently used symbols up here. Makes it very easy for you to change it to a new symbol and apply that change as well. Some of these are actually scalable vectors as well, so you can see that they scale very, very well, and they even have multiple colors as well. Let me jump back to this icon here for the hospitals. So you can see that I can now easily apply that as well. And let me just apply one for my clients here as well. A red one, 2 clicks, and you change your symbology on your symbols, right? It's that easy now with the recent use styling list that lets you very easily pick a style you already used. So you can see that I have a number of points here, and it's really hard to actually see how many there are, right? And are they overlapping? How many are they overlapping? Are they 2, 3, and 5 points there? You don't really know. So what we did, we actually implemented a new capability here in MapInfo. So for a layer, if you double click it and go to point clustering, you can now actually render it differently, right? Instead of rendering the individual points, you cluster them, right? And you can specify let's say a search cell around the map, so that it basically counts the number of points in each of these cells, right? So you can see now it's easier to see where you have a high number of points, right? And this is dynamic. So when you zoom out, you can start to see that the rendering actually changes, because now it's pixel based, right? So the pixels, they span a larger area, and so the number of points in that area actually is larger as well. And just to show you, you can also control the size here. So if I say 128 instead, you can see you get fewer of the point clusters, but with a larger amount of points in them, right? So you have control over that capability as well. And the last thing I just wanted to briefly touch on is the new way we want to support the thematics as well. So when you right click on a layer, you now have a quick theme option here, and this will show a new thematic map creation way, right? Where we try to suggest some thematics you could do on your data. You can see a list of thematics here, right? If you don't like that approach, you can also specify it yourself and say, I want to use hospital type. I don't want a legend, for instance. Maybe you don't need a legend because the legend is in your layer list, right? And say next. And you can either choose a template here, or you can actually use a custom setting where you just more or less pick the color you want to use, right? So in this case, I just want to use a template and then create my thematic, right? So what we want to do is we want to make it very easy for you to create a thematic and then make it easy for you to afterwards modify that as well. So that could be via the theme tab up here, which really isn't that new. It's been there for a while now, but we also want to make it possible for you to actually interact with your thematic using the layer list here as well. So I think that is what I wanted to show, Jen. So I'll hand it back to you again.